Welcome to Airworthy Tours, your guide in the sky. My name is Captain Phillip, and today I'm going to serve as your pilot and tour guide as we take a tour of New Orleans cemeteries. Since the beginning, New Orleans has been privy to fires, tropical storms, diseases, and armed conflicts, which meant that the locals had to find creative ways to bury and honor their dead. Now, I know what you're thinking, but the New Orleans cemeteries are popular tourist attractions. But before we get started, if you'd like to be a part of future aerial tours, please consider subscribing to the channel. We are clear for takeoff, so sit back, relax, and enjoy your tour. The early European settlers struggled with burying their dead due to New Orleans having a high water table. If you dig a few feet down, the grave becomes soggy, causing the casket to float. Many different burial methods were tried, including placing stones on top of the casket. However, graves were kept above ground, following the Spanish custom of using vaults to bury their dead. Many tombs look like miniature houses, complete with iron fences, and the rows in the cemeteries resemble streets. This is why New Orleans cemeteries are known as cities of the dead. Today, there are 42 cemeteries in the New Orleans metro. Let's talk about the burial practices. After a body is interred, it is left undisturbed in the grave for a period of 1 year and 1 day. At that point, another body can be interred, with the remains being pushed back or collected by the family. The cemeteries are easily visible when coming from the Armstrong Airport to downtown New Orleans. Below is the Greenwood Cemetery, one of the largest in the city and holds over 20,000 burial plots. Next to it is the Metairie Cemetery. Many famous restaurant entrepreneurs are buried here, including Al Copeland, the founder of Popeyes, Ruth Fertile, the founder of Ruth Chris Steakhouse, and the original owners of Antoine's, Brennan's, Arnaud's, and Galatoire's, which are the French Quarter's most historic restaurants. Many of Louisiana's political elite are buried here, including 9 governors of Louisiana, 7 mayors of New Orleans, and 49 kings of Mardi Gras. Our next stop is St. Louis Cemetery number 1, which is the oldest cemetery in the city and was built in 1794. Historic people buried here include Homer Plessy, who was the plaintiff in the Plessy versus Ferguson trial, and voodoo priestess Marie Laveau. People leave offerings for her at her grave in hope that she will fulfill their wishes. The White Pyramid tomb below will be the final resting place of actor Nicolas Cage. The cemetery sees 100,000 visitors a year and is the only cemetery that charges or needs a tour guide due to vandalism issues. If you wish to be buried here, the going price for a plot of land is $40,000. Right behind St. Louis number 1 is St. Louis Cemetery number 2, which opened in 1823 after yellow fever and cholera outbreaks. Bodies aren't just buried in tombs and mausoleums, but also in wall vaults, which are stacked tombs on the perimeter of many cemeteries. Glance at the ground and you'll see wall vaults that are only partially visible. The rest are below the earth, evidence that New Orleans is gradually sinking. Our next stop is Lafayette Cemetery number 1, founded in 1833 in the Garden District. This cemetery has immigrants from over 25 different countries and natives of 26 states buried here. And Lafayette Cemetery number 1 has been used in multiple big budget films, including Interview with the Vampire, Double Jeopardy, Deja Vu, Jonah Hex, and Black and Blue. Our last stop is St. Louis Cemetery number 3. Opened in 1854, it was built upon a former leper colony. It is much larger than the other St. Louis cemeteries, with 10,000 burial sites and 3,000 wall vaults. The most famous person buried here is Ernest Dutch Morial, the first African-American mayor of New Orleans. St. Louis number 3 has an interesting mix of personal tombs and society vaults. In addition, the Archdiocese made plots available to a number of orders of priests, nuns, and brothers who lived and worked in the city. When people die in New Orleans, there is a mourning for the departed. However, there's also a major celebration of the person's life, known as the jazz funeral. A typical jazz funeral begins at a church or funeral home and then makes its way to the cemetery, accompanied by a brass band and dancing revelers. For one last party in the Big Easy. If you enjoyed today's tour, you can tip your tour guide by hitting the like button. Also, make sure to check out some of our other aerial tours in our Haunted series. Thank you for flying with Airworthy Tours, and we look forward to seeing you on our next flight.